So I walk into a convenience store and I see this headline, Gay Aliens Found in UFO Wreck. And I wondered, is that how Americans view gay people? Is aliens? In the 2004 November elections, Measure 36 was one of the most heated initiatives on the ballot. It would try and define marriage as one man, one woman. People against this initiative would spend nearly $3 million to try and fight it. All of this just to try and define marriage. So I decided I would take to the streets and try and define marriage for myself.
Marriage to me is the way that it's defined in the Bible, and the Bible defines it as the joining of one man and one woman. And so that would be the definition of marriage for me.
It seems to me that if we're going to let people vote about it, then what we're saying is that we're giving all of us a chance to define it.
A lot of people were there for the No on 9 effort who said, you know, I may not agree with the homosexual lifestyle, but I do believe they have basic human rights, and we have to respect those rights. And the the 9 campaign in particular was about denying folks some basic rights. They don't always share that same view when you talk about marriage. And this is a more difficult issue because it's a theological issue for many people. And so I found folk who are very proactive when it comes to civil rights issues have a different view when it comes to marriage. And this has been a real stumbling block.
I think what's important to recognize is that the religious right has conducted a culture war against the public of the United States. And they are using the gay issue as their means of getting out conservatives through their churches to vote.
You know, 200,000 people signed that initiative. You see, they go to church, have all that love energy in their heart too. Say marriage should be just a man and a woman too. They love everybody, except during the week.
Hi, Henry. This is Mike Jaskilka over at Berean Baptist. I think I'm going to decline your invitation to participate in the documentary. So thanks for thinking of me, and I hope you do well with it and that it goes well for you. Bye.
I want to live my life just the way anybody else wants to live their life. You know, I want to get married, I do. I want to have children, I want to have a family unit and go through that whole experience of a life. Why, and I would say this to them, why do you want to stop me from doing that? And I would actually try to get more into a debate and just say, what, you know, look at us, why do you care if we have the same recognition that a heterosexual couple would have? Why do you care what we're gonna do with our life?
We heterosexual couples have assumed this for so long and have denied it to our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, and we're just not even aware of what it means as a result. So I have just been really taken by these stories. You know, 3,000 couples just in Oregon that have done this, and well, I can remember, you know, it wasn't so long ago that one of the big arguments against homosexuality was that they were always trading partners. You know, they never showed any. Well, now we're seeing the opposite, the exact opposite, and I think that has created. In fact, I know of some people who've even said this, that it was a huge eye-opener to see all these couples wanting to make this public commitment to each other that they're going to stay together and, you know, committed to this relationship, because they always had this misconception of what it meant to be gay, that it meant that you didn't have one partner, that you had, and now they're seeing the opposite and realizing, hey, these folk are not all that different from me, they just have a different sexual preference.
and they turn to their own parishioners in the churches who normally don't vote and say, we must get out the vote. We have to protect America. We have to protect our children. We must defend families.
Marriage is between a man and a woman, not woman and woman or man and man. It is woman and man, like the Bible says, and that's what it should always be.
And they're so quick to throw the first stone. They're so quick to judge. They're so quick, you know, to use in God's name. And I really am so tired of hearing because God said so.
And here we have a religious right speaking for God. Has anyone listened to Jerry Falwell? That the reason that the two towers in New York, we in New York call it the Twin Towers, here they call it the World Trade Center, didn't he get up and make a statement that this was God's punishment to America because we allow liberals, homosexuals, the ACLU, lesbians, and that drivel? If anyone had ever read the Bible and that religion, he would have been immediately stoned.
Haven't experienced it myself, obviously, yet, but let's say marriage is, well, we believe that it's between a man and a woman, and it's something that can bring two closer together. And something that is really cool that we believe in the church is that man and a woman can be sealed together for all time and eternity. It doesn't have to start here or end at this life, but that it can continue to go on.
Our faith has strong implications for how we should organize government, and therefore, as people of faith, we should be involved in those efforts of shaping government to reflect our understanding of these issues.
A very important political strategy or tactic is to focus on your enemy and invent an agenda that your enemy has. And then you claim you are defending everyone against it. It is your agenda that is really in the forefront. Lenin wrote about this in his writings in the 19-teens as a means of promoting the Bolshevik revolutions around the world, which is, say something that's true, such as you have cameras on a helicopter showing 500,000 people marching civilly and with great dignity in a gay pride parade. Then you focus on the individual who is acting in a way totally unacceptable to anybody, including 90% of the gays. You now say, 500,000 gays, but they're not gay, blah, 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 and now you focus on an individual who, of course, is wearing leather or half naked, etc. Now you go to your people and say, see, this is the radical gay agenda. They blah, blah, blah. So you take a statement of fact. There were 500,000 people. Now you follow it with a non sequitur.
When I see the numbers, it's not just the government, it's the American people. When I see the numbers of people who are against me wanting to live my rest of my life with this woman and have a family, I get really scared of my country. I take it really personally. Unfortunately, I haven't learned how to put that boundary up yet. I don't think I ever will.
And let me just give you an example of this ballot measure. They created the first OCA measure, the second and the third, in order to get gays and their supporters to demonstrate. They now had the visuals they needed. They now had people yelling and screaming, dressed in ways that are quite odd, and an in-your-face attitude. They knew that. They provoked. What was the result? Now they go to their churches and to the American public and say, this is what we're supposed to give equal rights to?
I have been approached to bless a family of a gay couple, lesbian couple who was married by a minister in Portland, but lives here and attends our church regularly.
I can't believe that people would make a political issue out of this, and I think that every one of us needs to speak out and teach our children that the only thing that matters is whether we hurt each other or not. And how people love each other, who they love, that's always a good thing.
We're not harming anybody. We're not, you know, everybody's got their own opinion, you know, to each their own. And I just want to love, and my love's not any different than your love, or that person's love, or this person. It's love is love. Love is love.
Very powerful experience, and what was really, for me, touching and eye-opening is that this couple had said they didn't realize how important and meaningful marriage was. Because up to this point it was never possible. They never entertained the possibility of getting married because it wasn't legal. It became legal for a short period. They decided to go ahead and do it. And then, when in the act of doing it, suddenly the importance of it just overwhelmed them. And they said in that moment, when they got married, on the same day they got their license by a minister they had not known up to that point, they said it was the most spiritual moment of their lives. That suddenly they had this overwhelming sense of the presence of God in that moment and through their love and their relationship.
Does anybody remember what it was like at the first ballot measure? It caused more dissent within families. One member of the family saying, I oppose the ballot measure, the other supporting it. As good Christians, did it bother them at all that they were ripping families apart?
I never thought that we would ever find ourselves here growing up. I never thought that it would be, you know, trying to get the Constitution amended to just slip in a little thing. I never thought we would ever find ourselves here, and maybe it is a good thing, it needs to happen, but I think we're the global joke right now. I think we're a big fat fucking joke.
The Constitution is for our country the most sacred document we have. Why would we try to write in it, you know, that kind of definition that can change? You know, the Constitution should be there to protect basic human rights. This is what the Bill of Rights is about. It should be there to protect our liberty and there to define the role of government, the relationship of the people to the government. Once we get into defining issues like marriage in the Constitution, then where do you draw the line?
Where does he preach hate? Where does he say reject the sinner? Is it not in the New Testament or the Old that says, judgment is mine, says the Lord? Now we don't need the Lord. Judgment is mine, saith the Baptist. Where does it not say in the Bible, judge not lest ye be judged? Yet here are people saying that Matthew Shepard, that poor boy who was murdered brutally in Wyoming, is in hell. I would like to know, why is God and Jesus no longer necessary to Christians?
You know, Matthew Shepard had his jaw broken the year before. People killed him too. They say a lot of people are gay and lesbian. They have nice things to look forward to. Like being up by 16 people at one time, you see.
Fear of sex and fear of love, that's about the only thing I can think of. Why would you spend your life trying to tell other people how to live in that way when so much is at stake really for our children and our environment and our future?
This ballot measure is so that the Republican Party, as they did in Eugene today, sending the second highest ranked Republican in the GOP of Texas to Eugene, Oregon, another state, to talk with, not preach, to a group of right-wing religious fundamentalists, closed to the public, open only by invitation, closed to the press, to do what? To find a way to get their people out, to sign ballot measures, to become politically motivated, in order to get them to vote for Bush and Cheney, who are un-American and should be treated as such.
I think that you shouldn't make people feel some way, and you shouldn't deprive them of legal value just because they're different from you. And just because your religion says that you shouldn't be gay doesn't mean that you should you should make everybody believe that.
I would love to be able to marry her. I would love to be able to marry you. And if for whatever reason they say we can't, that doesn't mean I'm not going to spend the rest of my life with her.
They want to have a loving relationship, they want to have a family, they want to have stability, they want to have a home, a dog and a cat, and, you know, the American dream. And now they have that opportunity to do that. And I think it's going to change the face of our country in many ways that I think are positive, that will allow such couples to interact in society as a couple, that will be affirming and good for all.